I was stressing about my deodorant.
Well, today we're celebrating Veterans Day here at Volunteer High School. We're honoring our family and staff's family members that were in the military. And so right now we're having a breakfast. And then directly after that, we will be going into the gymnasium and have an assembly. We have a guest speaker who's going to be speaking to the students and the staff, and I believe it's going to be great. I'm a teacher here at Volunteer, and so as part of the beginning of the year, what I do is I introduce myself so I get to know my students and they get to know me and know where my procedures and rules are in my classroom. And I tell them a little bit about myself. So I told them I was in the military, I'm retired, and then I see that there's a connection there. Students were like, oh, my papa was in, my dad, my mama, and so we kind of make a connection that way. And I thought it would be a nice thing to do because for all of Volunteer High School to celebrate our veterans. My husband was also in the military, and and he's no longer with us, but I just think it's important for all of us because there's a lot of us that have family members that have been in the military and served our country well, and I think it's a nice thing to do for our community and our high school. I served lots of places.
I mean, what branch were you in?
Air Force.
Okay,
Air Force.
how many years were you in?
20 years.
Wow, okay. All right, do you want to talk about any bit about your experiences?
I had several. I think one of the experiences I had that really changed me was when I was stationed in Oklahoma, and I was there for the Alfred P. Murrah bombing that was there at the federal building, and
the Oklahoma City bombing? Oh, wow.
Bombing. And also had somebody that I knew very well that was killed in that. And so I had to go down and help clean up and do that kind of thing, and it really put an effect on me that has always stayed with me. My uncle was in Vietnam, and I've heard stories all my life about things that happened to him, so that trauma or those experiences really never leave you. I just thought I asked my principal if it was okay, Dr. Sturgill, if we asked him if it would be all right if we did something like this to honor our veterans and have our school come together, and he said absolutely. So I just got the ball rolling. I got a lot of volunteers to help me and student volunteers as well, and so couldn't have done it without all of them.
Good morning. Try it again. Good morning. On behalf of Volunteer High School, I'd like to welcome you all to our event today. Thank you to our central office staff, our community, and most importantly, our veterans for coming out today. I'm honored to be speaking with you today on such an important occasion. We're here today to honor our family service members, remember their achievements, their sacrifices that they've made, and the courage and dedication it takes to defend, honor our country, and to say thank you for their sacrifices. At this time, I'd like to introduce our MC for today, Mr. Ethan Mullins.
For every airman and soldier in the military, reveilles plays of Eagle Call signal the beginning of our duty day. Retreat is played to mark the end of duty day and precedes the playing of the national anthem. Under the direction of Mr. Winger, our chamber singers will now perform the national anthem and a tribute to America.
Send bright stars through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Volunteer High School Junior Rebecca Owens. She is the commanding officer of the Junior ROTC.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Color guard, pose.
You may be seated. 1918, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, an armistice, or temporary ceasefire of hostilities, was declared between the Allied nations and Germany in World War I. A legislative act approved on May 13, 1938, made November 11th a legal federal holiday in the United States. The legislative act stated the new holiday was dedicated to cause of world peace and to be hereafter celebrated and known as Armistice Day. In 1934, the 83rd United States Congress amended the 1938 Act and made Armistice Day a holiday, striking the word armistice and replacing it with veterans. President Dwight D. Eisenhower approved and signed the legislation on June 1st, 1954. From then on, November 11th has become a day to honor American veterans of all wars. Thanking the veterans who join us today and those who are here only in spirit, a person can't help but feel pride for our loved ones. Even though only one day of the year is dedicated solely to honoring our veterans, we must never forget the sacrifices that many of our family, friends, and loved ones have made to defend our country and protect our freedoms. At this time, I'd like to ask the veterans who are here to stand.
And I'm proud to be an American. Next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land.
We want to thank you for answering the call to duty. Thank you again for your sacrifices and service to our country. I would now like to welcome our guest speaker, retired Colonel Mike Manning. Colonel Manning is a combat veteran that has served in Somalia, Iraq, and Afghanistan. He is currently serving our community as the Hawkins County's Veteran Service Officer. Colonel Manning retired from the United States Marine Corps after serving 30 years of active duty and 6 years in the United States Naval Reserve. Please welcome Colonel Mike Manning.
All right, good morning. So the veterans are going to get tired today. I apologize. You're going to stand up again, please. All right. Okay, so this is what the day's all about. You ever heard a little brief history, right? What is Veterans Day? All the students here are going, it's another day off. We get tomorrow off. Hurry up so we can get out of here. I used to be in high school many years ago. Understand how it works. All right. First off, thank you for the invite. Volunteer students, staff, principal. Appreciate it. But most especially why we're here today, to honor our veterans. I'm going to read a couple quotes here. I was asked to keep this serious but also lighthearted and maybe humorous. I'm not sure I do the humor very well anymore. But I'm going to read a couple citations as we go through this. But I'm also going to quote one of the favorite bumper stickers I've ever seen in my lifetime. And it says something along the lines, if you can read this, thank a teacher. So all of our teachers, go ahead and stand up right now. Come on, all our educators, let's go. So the second part of that bumper sticker says, if you can read this in English, thank a veteran. And if you don't know history, you need to start studying it, because history does repeat itself. This country is free because of our veterans, men and women that have raised their right hand and at some point in their life wrote a blank check to this country that could be paid for with their lives. So think about that for a minute. And I know we got some Vietnam veterans in this audience. Some of them were drafted. They didn't have a choice. But they still went and served this country. And they proudly are veterans to this day, despite how this country treated them when they came back. We owe all of them a special debt of gratitude for the fact that we treated them as if they had a choice, and then absolutely were horrible to them when they returned. So we got Vietnam veterans in the audience today. I thank you personally, one, for your sacrifice, two, for the way this country treated you at that time, and I apologize for it. But you are service members and veterans too, and we will never forget that. So, veterans, less than 1% of this country's population ever serves on active duty in the United States military. Think about that for a minute. I don't do math in public, okay, because it ends poorly. But less than 1% of this country's population ever serves on active duty. Less than 1%. So when you see a group of veterans, take the time to walk up to them, thank them, and oh, by the way, here's a crazy thought, because I know most of you have a cell phone in your pocket right now and you're used to doing this. Take a minute, look at them, talk to them, ask them what service they were in, what they did, and where they served. And then thank them again. Because I think too often this country forgets that at times. One day a year we recognize our veterans, but we need to do a better job talking to them. And I'll give you a personal example. My uncle was in the Marine Corps and fought at this place called Chosin Reservoir in Korea. The Marines know exactly what I'm talking about. I did not know he was a Marine, nor that he had fought at Chosin Reservoir in Korea until after I came into the Marine Corps. And I was talking to him one day and said, Uncle Abbott, why didn't you say anything? And he looked at me and said, because you wouldn't have understood before. Well, he's very correct, I wouldn't have. But we need to do a better job as citizens of this country to understand our armed forces, and most specifically our veterans. Because your grandfathers, your fathers, mothers, grandmothers, brothers, sisters, cousins will be gone before you know it. And if you didn't take the opportunity to talk to them, get to know them, and find out about their service, shame on you. Take the opportunity. No matter how difficult it may seem at times to walk up to an old guy like me, or some of these, sorry I'm calling us all old, take 5 minutes to talk to them and thank them for their service. One thing our country has done very well since Vietnam is always paid respect to its active duty military and veterans. And I hope that never changes again. So what is being a veteran or being in the military all about? It's about being on a team. Those in this school that play on high school sports, football, basketball, you know what it's like. It's a bigger calling. It's something greater than yourself. All the seniors in this audience today, you're about to make a huge decision what you're about to do. And I am not a recruiter. I'll tell you that right now. Never was a recruiter. God bless them, but didn't want to do it. Okay, but all you seniors, you're about to make a huge decision. Am I going to go work? Am I going to go to college? Oh, maybe I could do this thing called the military. No matter what you do, huge decision. If you decide to take that path to the military, stand by, because everything you knew is about to get turned on its head. But you will thank yourself the rest of your life if you do make that decision, no matter how long you serve. Something about veterans amongst all of us here today. You can see one of your buddies from the Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, Marine Corps. See them again 5 years later, and you will pick up right where you left off. The camaraderie is like no other organization in this world. And when you talk to a veteran, that's something that will always come out. I miss the camaraderie. I miss being around my brothers and sisters. You're part of something that is greater than you, and it's never forgotten. All right, I'm going to read you a couple quotes, and then I meant to hand my watch because I said I wasn't going to talk longer than 15 minutes, but I'm going to read you a couple quotes, and then I'm going to end because you've got other things to do. This is a statement written about 50 years ago about what are veterans. These individuals are patriots that absolutely love their country and all that it stands for. Although when you ask them why they join, you'll get many different answers. But most come back to the basic sense of wanting to belong to something greater than themselves. The history of our country has been built on the sacrifices of its citizens and protected by those that have been willing to be different, to stand up and be called upon to protect all of our freedoms. Veterans Day is a celebration to honor America's veterans for their patriotism and their willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. What does this look like in action? I'm going to read you a couple citations. These individuals were 18, 19, 20 years old. Many of them had just gotten out of high school. One who grew up not far from here that served in World War I, and if you haven't heard of him, you need to do a little research. He goes by the name of Sergeant York. Then Corporal Alvin York, who's a Medal of Honor recipient from World War I. After his platoon suffered heavy casualties and 3 other non-commissioned officers had become casualties, Corporal York assumed command. Fearlessly leading 7 men, he charged with great daring a machine gun nest, which was pouring deadly and incessant fire upon his platoon. In this heroic feat, the machine gun nest was taken together with 4 officers and 128 men and several guns. In attempting to explain his actions during the 1919 investigation that resulted in him being awarded the Medal of Honor, Sergeant York told General Lindsay, "A higher power than man guided and watched over me and told me what to do." Lance Corporal Kyle Carpenter, Medal of Honor recipient, Marja, Afghanistan. He and a fellow Marine were manning a rooftop security position on the perimeter of Patrol Base Dakota when the enemy initiated a daylight attack. With hand grenades, one of those hand grenades landed inside their sandbag position. Without hesitation, Lance Corporal Carpenter moved toward the grenade in an attempt to shield his fellow Marine from the deadly blast. When the grenade detonated, his body absorbed the brunt of the blast, severely wounding him, but saving the life of his fellow Marine. By his undaunted courage, bold fighting spirit, unwavering devotion to duty in the face of almost certain death, Lance Corporal Carpenter reflected great ground upon himself and upheld the highest traditions of the Marine Corps and United States Naval Service. Lance Corporal Carpenter is alive and well today, and will tell you that he did it because he was absolutely not going to let his fellow Marine and friend die. And this last one I'm going to read you, very special to me because it was one of my corpsmen in Afghanistan. And if you don't know what a Navy corpsman is, I think we had a couple in the audience. I know there's at least one in the audience. Stand up wherever you are. There she is. Okay, you're going to be shot. Chief Greer is also a corpsman. And if he's in here hiding, yep, there he is up there. Navy corpsmen to Marines, although they take the brunt of every joke in the world. Don't you, Chief? We love them like no others. The reason for that is corpsmen take care of us. When we get hurt, injured, whatever, wounded, they patch us up. One of my corpsmen in Afghanistan, attached to Charlie Company, 1st Battalion, 2nd Marines, 2010, in Helmand Province, Afghanistan. Doc Jake Emmett. My Charlie Company was in a firefight. We knew it was coming. Battalion was going to reinforce them. Taking over an area we hadn't been to before. Taliban was heavy. We knew it was going to be a fight. Knew it was going to be a fight. Marines are up to it. Doc Emmett, right there beside his Marines. Marine gets shot. It's the first thing a Marine does when another Marine gets shot. Corpsman up. That's the call. Doc Emmett went running to the aid of that Marine. Rendered aid. Patched him up. Another Marine gets shot. Doc Emmett grabs his Unit 5, his first aid kit, starts running towards the assistance of the other Marine. While he's running towards that Marine, he gets shot in the face. Knocked unconscious, falls in place. A couple of my Marines are like, he's dead. About 2 minutes later, Doc Emmett gets up. He looks at the Marine he was running towards, and he continues running towards him with a bullet hole in his face. He's choking on his own blood. He tells a combat lifesaver, a Marine next to him, "This is what you need to do for me. I'm treating this Marine that's been shot. But you need to treat me while I'm treating him." And so he does. Doc Emmett was medevac that day with about 7 other Marines, 2 of which he no doubt saved their lives. And he, because of his undying professionalism and just the way corpsmen are when it comes to taking care of Marines, wouldn't let his gunshot wound get in the way of treating Marines. He's awarded the Silver Star for his actions. So those are the serious cases. And why I bring those up and why I mention those, there are thousands more that you can read about in history books. But why I bring those up is that veteran that you look at, say hello to, may just be one of them. And I can tell you, your friends, neighbors, brothers, sisters, family members, they're all heroes. Because they all volunteered, or in some cases were drafted, to serve this country, knowing what may happen to them. And for most of your lives as students here, this country has been at war. We're about to go back to war, whether we realize it or not. Less than 1% is going to pick up that fight again and take it back to the enemy. So, thank them. Thank them for the sacrifices they make. Don't miss an opportunity when you see a veteran walking by, has a hat on or whatever else, to go thank them for their service, take a minute to talk to them, get to know them. So that's all I'm going to say today. I know I kind of left it a little bit probably serious, but this is a serious business. It's a serious business protecting this country. It's a serious business taking care of our fellow service members and veterans. But I will tell you, on a lighter note, the hardest I've ever laughed in my life has been with other service members or veterans. And if you've never seen the love of brotherhood, sisterhood, go sit down with a couple veterans that haven't seen each other for a few years and just sit there and listen to them talk. And you will understand true brotherly and sisterly love. God bless our veterans, God bless America, and thank you.
The tradition of sounding taps on November 11th of each year stems from the fact that this day was once known as Armistice Day, commemorating the end of all main hostilities of World War I. Taps is a bugle call, frequently used during the Civil War to signal the lights out, given the military day. Today, taps is played to mark the start of quiet hours at U.S. military bases, which is 2100 hours or 9 p.m. In addition, taps is a call to remember those who gave their lives. So, as our Veterans Day celebration comes to a close, please stand for the playing of Taps by Levi Henson.